All right. Hello and welcome to another edition of Late to the Party News. With me is my usual cast of characters, my bizarro dad from an alternate universe, Roman of the Empire with his musician's hat. How you doing, buddy? It's finally not 104 degrees, so I think you're not
It is
dying in
actually
your
the
garage this
studio
week.
itself this week is pretty good. So I'm very grateful for that. So I've had an interesting couple of days. So if you'll
Part of that was
recall,
because
last
we
week,
hung out on Friday. That's always a misadventure.
True, you're filled in. So I stabbed myself while fixing a lawnmower. Most people know that at this point. And then on Friday he froze something off of my head. The doctor, not just some random stranger throwing liquid nitrogen at me. And then today I went in and I got a shot right into the palm of my hand to help take care of some trigger finger locking up problem. So that's what happens when you cross over that center line to a century, kids. It all gets weird. Things just start falling off. It's not good. It's not good, but I'm happy to be here this week. Again, temperatures are finally not boiling my testicles, which I'm grateful for, not gonna lie.
Hey.
And that was without even a single drop of rum.
I mean, maybe you were drunk when you stabbed yourself in the leg. I don't know, but
No.
I saw the evidence that it was basically just super glued back together. And so, I mean, you very well could have just glued it back together like Flea does when the Red Hot Chili Peppers are mid-concert and his thumb is wide open and he just glues it back together.
I've done that before. It was at the behest of the lovely
of the Empire insisted that you go to the emergency room.
That's what super glue was invented for, by the way.
What was that, Blair?
That was what super glue was invented for, closing wounds.
It is. No, that's 100% true. Yeah,
Roman.
it was originally a medical adherent. And then they just realized, man, this will hold anything together. Here, watch this. You know.
Oh, boy. Well, glad to see that you're in one piece. And Lady Marine is also very happy that you are fully clothed because you were threatening to show up naked. Whatever happens below the desk, hey, like from desk below, do what you got to do. But
you're not going to cosplay the Fifth Element tape outfit,
No. Beard of Liberty has a
so good.
I believe a patent on that.
It's so good. I'm pretty sure I also retweeted it. This should be a fairly short search because I had a busy weekend, so I haven't really posted much else over the course of the weekend. But I was absolutely dying when so the clip was one thing, like him just like doing the big reveal, whatever. But then when they brought in the Careless Whisper saxophone, I was like,
R2 the Icky put that together. R2 it's gold. It's internet magic.
Oh, just to kick things off here, why not? Share audio, yes. There we go.
Boy, brace yourselves,
this
kids.
Is from I'm pretty sure anyone that's already in the chat now is very aware. This has been a long time coming, and that Roman absolutely despises the movie The Fifth Element. And to celebrate getting to 500 subs, which, by the way, cheers and congratulations to that, getting over that big 500 subs. Well deserved. He's definitely putting in the work. He finally said, "Okay, you guys are all bugging me. I got over the hump of 500 subs. I'm gonna do it." They did a stream about The Fifth Element, and then Beard of Liberty did do this.
You're going to regret having me here because while you say you hate yourself so much, you're about to hate me more.
Woohoo!
Oh, no, it's burned in. It's burned in. Oh, my God.
Roman, just remember, the first time I joked about doing that on Twitter, you were the first person to reply with the evil Kermit gif that said simply, "Do it." And I said, "Yep, you're going to regret this."
Damn it. There's so many things that we could have done. We could have. happening?
Oh, it's so good. It's,
Oh,
it's just as soon as
Oh,
as
shit.
soon as the saxophone came in, like I was dying. I was absolutely dying from that.
for that.
For those at home who want to play that game, make sure you do Vaseline up the nipples. You don't want any damage.
I would have liked to have
Oh,
seen the
boy.
post video when Beard is ripping off the tape. I would actually.
No,
It's just-
I know.
like the scene in 40-year-old virgin. Kelly Clarkson.
Big bloody cross on his
Yes.
chest.
Which is absolutely hilarious because when they filmed that scene for that movie, they were really waxing Steve Carell. Like that was
Yes.
not
Yeah,
that was not acting. That was very like, okay, we're gonna really do this, and whatever comes out of your mouth, we're gonna film it.
And the lady who did that, they asked her if she ever done that before. She lied. She said, yeah, she had never waxed somebody. So that was even
Oh
worse.
my god, that's horrible.
Like a professional
Ooh.
probably wouldn't have taken that big of a chunk. It probably would have been a little bit less, but yeah,
Smaller, yeah.
she chunked out a whole like
Oh,
boob
Oh.
breast
Whole
area.
big
He's like,
section of his chest.
well, thank God it was his chest.
Boy.
Yeah,
that's-
right,
Yeah,
really.
well, they,
It couldn't
depending
have
on
been
how much
worse.
cover they got. But we've got yes, that was our big fun intro for Roman and the Empire, and of course we have our favorite wizard from the Midwest, Blair to Blair. How are you doing, brother? Always good to see you.
I'm doing good. I must say, I know we're going to get into it here. I just want to say this. At a certain age, if you're a performer, you just need to stop.
Oh,
Yes.
Because Jane's Addiction, back in the day, I was at Lollapalooza 1. I didn't get to see them play because I had to go do duty. I was in the Navy. So I went to see Susan the Benches anyway. I didn't care about them. But they started Jane's Addiction started Lollapalooza, and Perry Farrell ran it for a long time too.
Mm-hmm.
And back in the day, they were very edgy and alternative, and all that.
Yeah.
There's a certain age where like they should be banned from being played in public, because as I'm sure you're going to show some clips and pictures, they look like a bunch of fucking old men fighting in a retirement home. It is
100%.
so sad.
It's
And
bad.
Dave Navarro and his little fucking makeup shit and all those guys, like, no, just fucking stop. I mean, the Rolling Stones and the Who are already old, kind of like when we were kids. So
True.
yeah, okay, them, fine. But like, anybody who was like an alternative person, no, just stop, please. And now they cancel
And
the whole
so-
tour.
Yeah.
Rightly, they
so exactly in that realm. I mean, like I said, we're going to get into it. We're going to go dive into it. But obviously those of you in the chat, and don't worry, I'll get to you guys in a minute. I want to say hi to everyone in the chat, but we're just we're going with the flow of things. Obviously everybody saw this clip over the weekend of Perry Farrell going over and like attempting to take a swing at Dave Navarro, but obviously someone who's never actually been in a fist fight before in his life. Looks like he's probably still on drugs, where it's like, bro, you're probably in your like mid to late 50s now. It's like you got to knock that shit off. You got to get clean. You got to
he's
knock
a
this
little
off.
bit
Like,
older. I'll find his age.
so anyways, but I was curious. I'm
Oh,
like,
it's-
okay, so they've been doing this tour since like the end of May. It was like the last week of May that they started this tour. And
July,
now,
August.
here we are in September. So it isn't like this is like their second or third weekend. Like they've been going at this for a little while. And I like in an effort to be objective, like I typically try to do. We're not going to get into it. 'Cause I'm going to leave it alone. Holy
Yeah, that's what I thought.
shit.
He's pushing 70.
65.
Oh,
How
I
is
didn't
he
know-
older than the guys in Tool?
Holy shit, he's 10 plus over us. Wow. Well, over us. He's like 40 years older than you, son, but me and Blair, he's about 10, he's 10 plus over us.
But so I was gonna try to keep picking on Linkin Park, but I decided to just like whatever. I don't even care anymore, so I'm just gonna let it go. But there were a lot of things where I tried to be very objective with their new singer. At this point, I'm like, I don't even care anymore. I'm gonna let it go. In this same effort to try to be objective with the Jane's Addiction reunion. I will admit, I'm not really a fan of their music. I've never been a fan of their music. Even back in the 90s when it was like their heyday, I was kind of like, like his voice is kind of screechy. Like it's not my bag. It's not my thing. But I'm like, okay, now him being now 65 years old, I'm like, there's no freaking way he can still hit those notes. And don't get me wrong, they could down tune the guitars, they could change the key, no, they didn't. No, they didn't. I pulled up a video from like a week or two ago of them playing the Mountain Song. It sounded like a bad cover band. It was so bad. It was so bad. Like the rest of the band sounded great. Like Dave Navarro, guitar, all the other, but like him, like his vocals were so bad. Like he was basically just like trying to sing the next octave down to where it's like, okay, well now you're losing all that power and all that energy that like
that song has to be at a certain pitch. Otherwise,
it's got to be at an 11.
Down the mountain. No one wants to hear that.
No, it was.
Plus, he's got tinnitus.
I might even.
So physically, he can't even do it, and that's kind of like his wife was saying. That's what started the brawl. Was that?
Yeah.
He was saying they were too loud. People were yelling at him in the from the crowd saying they couldn't hear him.
Yeah.
And then he loses his crap. Plus,
They're
there's
not
a whole age thing.
Mix.
Yeah, and it's another thing too. You get to be a certain age, you don't want to deal with other people or other people's shit. You don't want to be in a tour bus.
Can you speak on that, Roman?
Actually, I can somewhat, yes.
So I read, and I do have an article pulled up here where it does address some of that stuff, like even his wife saying, this, that, and the other stuff. But I'm like, okay, but they're one of those bands that they're at a level where they're not dealing with just live speakers in front of them. In the video, you can see like there are monitors, there are speakers on the stage, like speakers facing them. But honestly, at the same time, I would be willing to bet money that they all probably had like noise canceling, in-ear. Like you have your own individual mix. So Perry Farrell had his own mix. Dave Navarro had his own mix. So it's like, you guys are the headliners. You go on stage at like 9 o'clock at night. You probably did sound check at like noon today. So you got in there, you made sure everything worked. They made sure the mains sounded good. They made sure your ears sounded good. You probably have the speakers in front of you as a backup. Make sure those are sounding good. So as a musician myself, who has played a lot of crappy venues, and Roman, who I'm sure has played a lot of crappy bar venues, like,
fuck yeah, dude.
I don't have a ton of sympathy for that because I'm like, at the level that they're at, it's like, I know you guys have better sound than this. So if something was wrong during the sound check, he would have been like, oh, hey, can you turn my vocals up? Can you turn the guitar down? Can you, like,
even after you start, though, dude, that's not a dead
you can
board.
be like, hey, like,
you can say, hey, between songs, or you
go
can
over to the sound guy,
up, down on that.
Yeah, I've seen people
whatever,
like play live, like, hey, can we get some, down, they would say stuff during the concert, not just go over and take a swing at your guitar player.
And normally, what happens in situations like that, where it's like the sound guy that's mixing for the house, so what the crowd is hearing, they are out kind of in the middle of the venue, so they can hear the house, they can hear the speakers.
Yeah, you
but
always
then
see them.
The guy that's mixing the ears and the monitors for the band is usually like right off to the side of the stage. So just like Roman said, in between songs, or if there's like a minute where he could walk away, he totally could have walked off to the side and been like, hey, can I get everything else down and my vocals up? Like there were moments where he probably could have fixed the situation. But anyways, we're getting ahead of ourselves. I want to quickly go through the chat here. We have got Jacob Ironside. Hello, sir. Always good to see you. Thank you so much for popping in. We have Lady Marine here to make sure that she downvotes and unsubscribes every single week like she always does. But it's okay because she resubscribes after the fact. Something about meat popsicles and frozen breadsticks. She says, I don't need help with my nightmares. And Anna Canteros, it looks like a first timer, at least on my channel. Looks like a few others in there saying hello and look like they know you. So hello, Anna. Thank you so much for joining us and popping in. Always good to see a new face in the chat. And I think that is it so far.
Melvin,
my goodness,
we've got Melvin Deeply from
we've
across
got
the pond.
Pink Pam 86. How did I miss this? I'm so sorry. Jumping in, yes, we talk about music, we talk about other things. We try to keep it kind of lighthearted and fun. But oh my goodness, thank you so much for joining us. So good to see you. Melvin Deeply is not here, so he's not really here. Sorry,
glad he cleared that up. I was wondering myself.
Melvin's a good friend. Melvin is from across the.
No, I know. We and we follow each other on Twitter.
I
as
just
well.
saw him on Angry Canadians gaming stream too. So,
Right
Yeah.
on.
So we've already been talking about this for honestly probably about the last 10 minutes. So let's just get into the Jane's Addiction thing. It's wild. You know, I've played in bands before. Roman has played in bands, but I have never. And I'm usually just a guitarist. I'm usually the guy that's like, I'm off to the side here, whatever. I've never had my singer just like come over and try to take a swing at me. So this is wild. This is so wild.
I love this.
Jane's.
They're claiming the bassist did a bitch move and took a punch at you know.
He's been waiting
Jane's
for that.
Addiction addresses stage fight. Perry Farrell's wife reveals more inside conflict. So just like you were saying, Blair, like his wife kind of said, you know, he's dealing with some stuff. This picture right here, like we're not even getting into the video, but like
God.
Dave Navarro. Here's the part that really impressed me the most. Was like Dave Navarro like didn't try to fight back. You know, like normally you see band conflicts. Somebody takes a swing at one guy, he's gonna be like, oh. I'm going to come back. But like Dave Navarro was so just like deer in the headlights, like what is happening right now? And like kind of, you know, right there, like puts his arm up, like, dude, like get off of me. But he was not trying to fight back. He was just like, so I don't understand what's happening. I don't understand. But like Perry Farrell, dude looks like he's still kind of on drugs. Like, isn't that initially kind of why the band split up to begin with?
Actually, I think
it's sad.
Navarro's drug use was the original problem.
Well,
I think so.
Yeah, it was the 90s and stuff. But I mean, either way, it's all unfortunate all around. But this picture right here, just like the look on both of their faces, like they're both just like, what is happening? I don't know. So Jane's Addiction has addressed the recent on-stage fight between Perry Farrell and Dave Navarro, while Perry Farrell's wife revealed the existence of more inside conflicts than previously thought. On September 13th, Jane's Addiction concert at Leaderbank Pavilion in Boston, Massachusetts was cut short after frontman Perry Farrell first bumped into Dave Navarro, then approached him threateningly and shoved his hands away in a punch-like motion. The altercation was cut short by the quick reaction of the crew, but the concert did not continue. Shocker. Pretty sure once the singer comes over and punches his guitarist, it's like, sorry everybody that bought your tickets, but the 15-year reunion that you've been waiting for is unfortunately over. And not to already take a jab at these guys because they haven't even started their tour, but when Roman first sent this to me, I was like, oh boy, how much longer before the Oasis boys can't get through their first show?
They were saying this is the preview for Oasis.
So I love the fact that Oasis has, you know, the Gallagher brothers have seemingly put their differences behind them. At the end of the day, yes, they were a band, but it's like they're still brothers too, right? Like for brothers to be infighting and not talking, like that's sad no matter what, right? But then with the band, they finally were like, okay, we're gonna put our differences behind us, we're gonna tour, we're gonna whatever. But it's like, how many shows do you think Oasis will get through before this same thing happens?
Good question.
I don't know.
How do we know how far into this show before the altercation happened? I don't think I saw anything.
It was about 8 to 9 songs. So being a
they've been in it for a little bit then. Okay.
I would say being a frequent concert goer myself, I would guess that was probably about like halfway through the show, probably give or take.
Yeah, they said they do about 15 songs a show, so they're about halfway.
Okay.
So
that's actually not a lot of songs for a show, though.
Yeah, but you figure it's kind of funny. I remember when I was a kid going to a lot of concerts, teenager, whatever, coming up, band like headliners almost always played for like 2 hours. Now it's like hour and a half, hour 20, maybe an hour. They're sort of scaling it down, and there's a lot of different reasons for it. But that seems pretty standard. But so Jane's Addiction has spoken up, apologizing to the fans and stating that the next scheduled concert in Bridgeport, Connecticut has been canceled. And in an Instagram story, the band wrote, "We want to extend a heartfelt apology to our fans for the events that unfolded last night. As a result, we will be canceling tomorrow night's show in Bridgeport. Refunds will be issued, blah, blah, blah." Okay, that's...
Skip
ahead from there. Always get a
gonna
refund.
cost.
Yeah. Some details about the fight itself were given by Farrell's wife, singer Eddie Lau? Lou? No. Farrell? It's an interesting name.
Hey, Devon.
Hey, Devon popped in. Yeah, man, you should have the link. So whenever you're free and ready, hop on in. Otherwise, we're just sitting here solving the world's problems. Hope the work meeting went well. So his wife said, quote, a lot of tension and animosity between the members and that the dynamite was lit that night. Further, she noted that Perry Farrell had been frustrated. So Blair, you already kind of touched on this one. Perry Farrell was very frustrated with his band members as he felt that, quote, the stage volume had been extremely loud and his voice is being drowned out by the band. Again, I kind of, being a musician myself, and okay, I've never played on a stage of like this level of, revered band from the 90s coming back after however many years. But again, I just think like saying that the stage volume was too loud, I have a hard time believing that like you couldn't work that out in the sound check.
Unless his hearing is so bad.
Yeah, unless like there's something we're getting ahead of myself here, but in the next paragraph there's something about tinnitus where again it's like you probably got in-ears, you probably got speakers in front of you. But yeah, I mean even me, like I'm 38 and my ears are blown out, but that's part of between live music and working in a machine shop, and that's even with wearing earplugs. But really quick though, I want to check in with the chat because we have longtime friend of the channel, Steven Ransom.
Steven.
So good to see you, brother. How are you doing?
Hey, man.
Thank you so much for popping in, man. Yeah, always good to see you.
Now, if he had like a head cold or something, he had a sore throat, maybe he had a cold, maybe he couldn't hear even worse. Maybe that's why he couldn't hear. But I mean, like you say, you go over to the sound people and say, hey, I got a problem, I can't hear. No, I'm gonna beat the shit out of my guitar player.
Go punch your guitarist.
not a good option. Also, the fact that every night due to the volume. Well, if we're at an every night point, this probably should have been addressed to everybody's satisfaction level. Because you are going to have to come to some kind of compromise on this. I mean, no one's going to say, no, man, it's got to be this loud. And then someone says, well, fuck it, I guess I'm not playing.
Again, let's see if I can roll back up and see the picture. Okay, so I will actually say, I will eat my words here and say I was wrong. Both Dave Navarro and Perry Farrell do not look like they have any kind of in-ear monitors in. So that means they were probably going old school with the speakers on the stage in front of them. I only say that because more often than not, when musicians have the in-ear molds, they're usually different colors. Like here with Perry Farrell, like maybe his are sort of like flesh colored, but Dave Navarro, like you can totally see like there's nothing in his ear, and like and it's
who's the guy
normally
behind
they're
him?
Like black or red. I think that's like
that's
one of their me. It's one of their it's one of their crew members that was coming up, and I'll play the video here in a second.
He's got an ear thing.
Yeah, you can see his. Yeah, you can definitely see
he might have like that might be more of like a walkie-talkie type of thing of like somebody being like, we need to go on stage, more like security. But the musicians, both of them, like normally they're either like black or white or like different colors. So I'm like, okay, like maybe they really were going old school. Maybe the stage volume really was too loud for them. But again, when you're doing sound checks so much earlier in the afternoon, speak up. Say like, hey, I need more of this. I need less of that. So anyway, so we went on to say further, Farrell's wife noted that he had been very frustrated with his band members as he felt that, quote, the stage volume had been extremely loud and his voice was being drowned out by the band. She stated that Perry had been suffering from tinnitus. There we go, which apparently I think all of us here have. And a sore throat. Well, because unfortunately, I hate to say it, not trying to be mean to the guy or anything, but he just can't hit the notes anymore. It's
it happens. It happens. As you get older, your voice changes. Geddy Lee is a great example of this. Geddy Lee's voice early on in Rush is very different. There's like a line that's crossed over, and you're now getting older Geddy Lee's voice. I actually prefer it because it's not quite as piercing.
Shrill.
I like Rush. I do, but I prefer his kind of mellower voice better than earlier on.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is what it is. So, yeah, dude, you're 65. You're 65. You need to approach this from a 65-year-old's perspective. Everyone on stage.
I still can't believe that he's 65 years old. So,
yeah, you can't be out there like you're 20 anymore. It don't
I mean, I wasn't gonna make like a big topic and make a big thing out of this, whatever. But so, the singer for the band Tool, Perfect Circle, and Pustifer, Maynard James Keenan, turned 60 years old this year, 60, and they did a short run of tour dates where it was his band, A Perfect Circle, his band Pustifer, and then they threw in Primus for good measure and did a very short run of tour dates, one of which luckily came to my town. I was fortunate enough to attend the show, and it was like a really fun roundabout where all three bands were set up on stage the entire night, and it was like, okay, The Perfect Circle does 3 songs, then Pustifer comes up and does 3 songs, then Primus comes up and does 3 songs, and then they take a brief intermission and do the same thing all over again, but in a different order. Now they've announced that they're doing a whole other, they're doing a longer tour in 2025 of the same fashion, but now he's going to be turning 61. Dude,
but that's a great idea though, because everybody gets a rest.
Voice, he still has his intensity. I think I don't know so much about the other bands, but the key of some of their older songs. But
yeah, these guys can only do like maybe 3 songs, and
he can still. But I mean, when I've seen Tool, like they play for hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever. Like he still brings it. He still can do the thing. And now my earbuds are being stupid. So in an effort to keep from getting an echo, I'm going to mute my microphone while I mess with my earbuds. So talk amongst yourselves here about Harry Fair.
I mean, a performer can always give 1 or 2 good performances. So if you have a group that come out and they do 3 songs and another, they rotate, that's a really great way of keeping the whole thing going. If you're trying to do the whole
uncommon way though.
Yeah, but
I like the idea too, but it is very uncommon.
But then you get stuff like this.
Not normal.
It's
But I'm just making the point that like I have seen Tool many times over. I've seen A Perfect Circle, I guess technically now 3 times. I've seen his band Pustifer 2 times. He still has the energy, the intensity. He brings it, but he also, as a vocalist who is aging, like all of us are, might have the foresight to come to his band and say, hey, I'm a little bit older now. I can't quite hit these notes. Can we change the song? Like, can we go from like, okay, instead of playing it in the key of C, can we like play it in, the key of G? Can we bring it down? Can we whatever? But he still has the same level of energy and intensity. But if I can manage to, after we get through this article and pull up the video of the fight, maybe just like a short little clip of them performing. Perry Farrell doesn't even have the energy or the intensity. Like he looks like he's just really phoning it in.
I love this here. The basis. After decades of getting shit on by that guy, he finally got his. Like that's for being on the music videos. Fucker.
Always fucking hated you.
Oh yeah, took advantage of the situation, and this one too. It's like I don't even necessarily know if I believe that statement because it's like they said, oh, the lights came down, they had to pull him off stage. I don't think this article. Okay, so it has the statement. I don't think this article has the video. Maybe it does. No, it doesn't. Just a Huggies ad. So let me see if I can.
I've got a link if you want it.
Yeah, go ahead and send that to me on Twitter.
Yeah, give me 1 second.
So
I've got it from X because that's where I was.
Or we could just play the Careless Whisper clip again.
Please don't. Let's see. Here's Jane's Addiction. Here we go. I'm going to do the share. I'm going to do. I'll
All right, okay, that's enough.
My God, man. All right, hang on. Let me copy this.
You
Let
asked
me
for it.
copy the
He
link. I'll
said
put it
when
in
he
the,
threatened to do that, you posted the evil Kermit that said, "Do it."
I did. No, I'm not saying I executed good judgment. That's true. That's undeniable. In fact,
Well, we know
it's
you
in
never
John. It's in
exercised good
the.
judgment.
It's in the private chat now.
Oh goodness!
And this is just.
Okay.
It's a Twitter link, honestly, but it is the
Oh,
full
in this
cut.
private chat, I was looking on Twitter. Okay, I got it. You're up to speed here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
Technology
should have
is
done
my
it before that. I'm
friend.
an asshole.
No, I got it. I totally got it. Technology is my friend.
Yeah, not mine. Not mine. I would
No,
actually
it's
be
not.
shutting
But
down
it's
the
also
internet
'cause
right
you're-
now, trying to make that work.
It's also because you are old. I'm not going to play the Bilbo. Don't worry.
Thank you.
Not
Thank you.
Perry Farrell.
And thanks
old,
to the 34 folks who are hanging out with us right now. Much appreciated.
but- Hello.
Yeah. You got a handful of people watching over on Twitter, a couple people watching on YouTube. Those of you that are watching on Twitter, if you do feel so inclined to hop on over to that YouTube link and subscribe to the channel, it is always greatly appreciated. Every little bit does help. And if you're watching on YouTube or wherever, make sure to like this video because that also helps. Let's see. I'm trying to
You got it,
hobos
son?
fight.
Okay, there, I got it. It's different like when you pull up a YouTube video, but like when it's in the middle of an article, it's kind of like like it's it's tough to okay, I think I got this. Share the audio. All right, here comes the Jane's Addiction Brawl.
There we go. Oh Lord.
What are you doing? What are you doing? Why?
Dave should have hit him with the guitar.
Boom! There he goes. Gut shot.
Yeah. Always fucking hated you.
God, he looks like an old man. That would really slap. That's right, Jay. It's like old people fighting in a retirement home.
Slap fight.
If he didn't get the tapioca pudding, shit's gonna happen. God.
Yeah, and it's not it's just it's
Pathetic.
not a good look. It's unfortunate for everybody involved. But yeah, like
he looked messed up.
Yeah, he didn't look like he was going into that clear-headed. I know, shocking.
no, so let's just let me just find just kind of for good measure. Yeah, going by machinist interests. 65, this is why healthcare should be denied to rock stars. But if that was the case, we wouldn't still have the Rolling Stones or like there's
Oh, they're
people
fine.
out there that just like yeah, that's wild. So let's see, what did he say? So you didn't execute good judgment. This is why the mob doesn't send you on hits anymore, Roman. We're just gonna leave that one.
What are you
there.
gonna do? What are you gonna do?
Look how they massacred my boy.
So how much reparations do you think Jane's Addiction's got to pay? I mean, are they going to get sued by all the venues that they canceled on? Do they have insurance to cover this?
If they, I would think if they just manage to issue refunds to everyone who bought tickets, they'll probably be okay.
I mean, the venues are still going to take a hit though because they've closed that time off specifically.
unless
Yeah,
they can get
they
other
both-
people
all that
in.
stuff. So
yeah,
they're
they
losing.
booked
They
the
are gonna lose money.
timeout. So, but as far as the fans, I think they'll probably be okay. I once saw back in it was like early 2018. I went to a Willie Nelson concert where
No.
he came out and literally like first song strummed a couple chords. They started to ramp into Whiskey River, walked up to the microphone and sang like 2 words, and then literally turned around, took his guitar out, and walked off stage. No warning, no nothing. His son Lucas Nelson, who helped write a lot of the music for the most recent rendition of Star Is Born, He kind of walked up to the front, took the microphone. The rest of the band, they're all like literally like they're still playing, but they're all kind of looking at each other, really confused. And then about 15 minutes later, Willie comes back out, puts his guitar back on. He's playing, but he's not really singing. And they like limp their way through Hank Williams Sr.'s "I Saw the Light." And then, you know, threw his hat off into the crowd, waved goodbye, said goodbye, whatever. So show started at 9. Well, the headliner, Willie Nelson, started at 9 o'clock. They walked off stage at 9:20 and just said, sorry, everybody get home safe. Without even having to ask for it, Ticketmaster issued full refunds to everybody. So we already saw the opening act. We saw 20 minutes of Willie Nelson, but they came back and said he had the flu. He's having, you know, as a lifelong smoker, that affects his lungs a lot. He just, whatever.
And he's 100 years old, so
nearly.
He's now currently 91 years old. This was a couple years ago, but yeah. All that being said, like without even having to ask for it, everybody received full refunds because they were like, "Well, you didn't get a full show. Like you saw his son Lucas open up with just his acoustic guitar as an opening act. You saw Willie for like 5 minutes. You saw the rest of the band for 15 minutes. Full refunds." So I think people would probably be hard pressed to try to like sue. But yeah, like Roman said, I think the venues are probably definitely taking a hit because like they blocked that night off for that whole venue for the show. Yeah. And now it's like, well, we can't book someone else when it's like only 2 weeks out. Mountain Song. Here it is. Here it is. This was really bad. Let me back it up a little bit. I was watching this earlier. Yeah. But Perry Farrell, man, 65. I had no idea. I did not anticipate that. I mean, I figured like maybe into his 60s, but not 65. Good Lord. This is going to be bad. Everybody take a drink. Wait, what was that?
I know, right? That was not his scream.
What is he doing?
He's got a cheat sheet with lyrics.
Oh, yeah. He's way down, didn't he?
That's just strange.
It is sad. Jay makes a good point. Does he even have a voice anymore? Because his style of music was lots of yell, screaming, and very
high.
Yeah, you can't. That's not a.
And it wasn't like Judas Priest classically trained. Type. It was more guttural and carry your voice up type of.
Yeah, like unfortunately, that's just it's one of those styles where it's like it's not sustainable as you get older because you can't keep hitting those notes. You can't like, even Robert Plant. I remember I have this box set, this DVD box set of Led Zeppelin sitting over on my shelf right now. That even in 1970, so like one of their last performances before John Bonham died, even then, when Robert Plant was still a relatively like a young man, his voice was already shot because of all the drugs and the alcohol and everything, and it's like. At the kind of the end of Led Zeppelin's heyday, Robert Plant already couldn't hit the notes, and now, however many decades later, it's like no, like you just can't, like, you can't maintain that.
There's certain styles of music where if you're older, you can still play and it's still a good show. But like these guys and the type of music they did, especially in the '90s, that kind of stuff. Yeah, he can't play like that, and it's not the same music, and it's not that good. It's I know, just stop, just please, you can't do it anymore, for God's sake.
Yeah,
it's
impressive that they're still alive at this age, given the excess of youth. But I mean, look at the Rolling Stones. We still have 2 out of the 4 Beatles still alive. Paul and Ringo are still kicking. I'm about to go see David Gilmour in a little more than a month from Pink Floyd. He's in his late 70s. Like, this might be my last chance to see him because he does not particularly enjoy touring. He's like the opposite of Willie Nelson, who would rather die on stage than retire. It's too late for a comeback.
Yeah,
Fair point,
especially like I
Jake, fair
say,
point.
you know, these guys were all about that youth culture, that alternative lifestyle. You know, that doesn't translate well into old age. Like
Yeah.
a classic R&B band, like the Stones, or stuff like that. It just really
Yeah.
is sad.
Yeah, it seems that fight was not an isolated incident. Yeah, they were saying that this was the first tour that they've done with this so-called original lineup since 2010. But then I guess they released new music for the first time in 34 years with this lineup. So they
I
had
didn't know
different
that.
iterations
I
of
was
the lineup.
unaware of that. I didn't
But,
know there was new James
as
music
far
out
as-
there.
Recording and releasing new music, it's the first new music they've released in 34 years with this exact specific lineup.
Man,
but the first
obviously
time
made
this
a
lineup
huge impact.
toured since 2010. Ain't his voice, it's the alcohol he was drinking or other stuff. There might have been some other factors at play here, unfortunately. But if he really is dealing with some mental health stuff or some drug stuff, I honestly really do hope that he gets the help that he does, because we've seen what has happened with great talents like Lane Staley and some others that don't stick
Dude, he
around.
outlived
So,
Lane by a good chunk. So
obviously, yes, but I'm just saying, like, at the end of the day, like, whether you're a fan of the band or not, it's like you don't want to see anyone go that same route.
Right.
I have my theories about how Kurt Cobain died. We're not going to get into that tonight. I have my theories about Chris Cornell. I have my theories about Chester Bennington. Different topics for different times. But, sadly, some young men never get the memo that it's time to grow up and start adulting. I fully believe that these guys could grow up and adult and do their thing, but it's like they either need to adjust the songs down for his voice, or he needs to just realize that he can't do it anymore and hang it up. Ticketmaster is the devil. Ticketmaster and Live Nation have created a monopoly, and somehow they were able to do it legally. I don't understand how. That's a whole other thing. The whole other topic. Does he even have a voice anymore after decades? No, I really
like
just by that short clip I played, I really don't think he does. You'll eventually tear your vocal cords up with all that scar tissue. Never mind the substance abuse. Yes.
Yeah.
Unless you have surgeries, and even then, a lot of times they don't work.
Yeah.
Rob Halford still has an amazing voice, and he's older than.
And some people manage to take care of themselves.
Sure.
I
It also
don't.
seems a different style of music. I mean, it is more operatic metal,
Yes.
not screaming all
Even
rock.
Halford, I don't know, and I know. Say what you want. Not a big fan of Judas Priest, but it's I don't know if he's one of those ones that got sober early on or managed to take care of himself or what. But sometimes if that is the case, if you're oh, I don't drink, I don't do drugs, or you cut it out young, you can still kind of, exercise, vocal exercises and take care of yourself. But
It's all the.
I wasn't gonna go there, but okay. Oh boy! All right.
Secret to his success. God bless him.
Lead singer for Aha. Hold on here. Lead singer for Aha has his voice, but that's an entirely different style when you're not abusing your vocal cords. Yes, but I also believe that a lot of the 80s new wave stuff, the style was that a lot of singers were singing in a lower register. Not the hair metal, not the Motley Crues and the other stuff, but it's the new wave was the guys were definitely singing a lot lower. So that lends to a little more longevity and being able to still do it versus a band like Jane's Addiction.
I remember they did hit the high points, but yeah, for most of it, they weren't, all the time up high.
Yeah.
And yeah, I wonder all the, grindcore metal people and that. What kind of longevity they have when they start doing their return?
Probably not much.
Probably not a lot at all.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're right. And they're one big hit. I mean, I know. Okay, they had their career and stuff, but yeah, there's he hits the high notes and
two songs
and
a James Bond theme.
So let's see. Mick Jagger was a clean fellow for most of his career, so I heard. I have a really hard time believing that.
He wasn't as bad as some, but he was not a clean man. No.
So it's just Keith Richards is doing all the drugs for all of them, then.
For all of them, I'm going to take it on for all of you, so we can continue to do. I will do all the drugs.
I remember Robin
still
Williams.
Alive, so
I remember Robin Williams having a bit talking about that. He's like, if we ever have like full on like nuclear war, all it's going to be left is cockroaches and Keith Richards. He's going to be sitting there on the curb next to a cockroach, smoking, going, I smoked your uncle. Super crazy. Wow, we're already like rapidly approaching our hour mark, but
this is the James Addiction rant show.
This is definitely the rant. I definitely think it's good to kind of focus on like one topic and then maybe have a couple quick rapid fire whatever ones. But I'm guessing neither one of you has seen the new Beetlejuice. I know Roman hasn't seen Beetlejuice yet. He doesn't want to. He hates Beetlejuice. He hates.
Also true.
There are some spoilers in this article, but I just couldn't pass it up. It was just too funny.
Oh God, this is so bad.
I had kind of
actually pissed me off.
It did too.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. So I had kind of a busy weekend, and then a rough Monday where I may or may not be coming down with a cold or something. I don't know, but I'm going to have some family in town in a couple of weeks, so I'm definitely going to take the Monday off when family's in town. So I was trying to keep the Monday thing going. I'll definitely be back on Wednesday with the After Work Beers chill stream with whatever else we didn't talk about today. But Tim Burton's use of a Soul Train scene in Beetlejuice is probably not the best idea. I will say right now, I did see this movie, and I thought that the musical numbers were excessive, but not for the reason why this article points it out. There were 3 different moments in the movie. Let me just start by saying this movie didn't need to exist. I absolutely love the original Beetlejuice.
Truth.
I love Michael Keaton. I love Tim Burton. Like Tim Burton's movies were literally like my childhood, and like the Danny Elfman soundtracks were the soundtrack to my childhood. I love Tim Burton. I love all of his older movies, but as he's gotten older, they're not great. So I went into this skeptically optimistic and walked away disappointed. I'll just say that I didn't hate it, but this movie didn't need to exist. It didn't need to be made almost 40 years
and
later.
It still had a pretty decent week too, which I was surprised about.
Well,
yeah, only 53% drop. That's not bad.
I saw it like on release day in the theater. It was pretty empty.
No, but it's heading towards the $200 million mark. I don't know how much it costs to produce.
I think people are just. I think most people are curious. But Burton's attempt at diversity falls flat, worsening casting controversies with a problematic cultural reference.
Well, God. You know what Gabriella needs to do? Not be such a not. I'm going to stop talking.
See you next Tuesday, person.
Yes, that's the word I was searching for, Blair.
I feel like they had to use a lot less makeup on him this time.
Yeah, right.
It's just pretty much Michael Keaton with a wig.
Skip ahead a bit here. So while it wasn't the worst follow-up film I've ever seen, it certainly didn't do justice to its iconic 80s predecessor. Beetlejuice's lackluster quality effectively boiled down to being stuffed with far too many largely disjointed plot lines, which that part I will absolutely 1000% agree with. The plot lines were all over the place, were very disjointed. It was too much, including a wildly underused Monica Bellucci as a sutured up ex-lover to the titular crusty poltergeist, and an unsettling ending scene that saw Jenna Ortega's Astrid birth a bloody beetle fetus. That was really freaking weird.
That's strange.
Really,
I mean,
it's
that's
really weird.
That's like horror movie stuff, not
and this movie still
whatever.
managed to maintain a PG-13 rating, but there are two different scenes where there's this weird, like, demonic, like, Beetlejuice baby, and I'm like, that's freaking weird. That's really weird.
Strange.
This is so weird. But perhaps the most cringe and egregious aspect of Tim Burton's record-breaking fall blockbuster was the addition of a Soul Train segment in a ghoulish rifling of the classic 70s music television series. Astrid becomes trapped. Spoilers. If you haven't seen the movie, and nobody cares.
This would not spoil anything for anyone.
Astrid becomes trapped in the so Astrid is played by Jenna Ortega. She is the daughter of Lydia Dietz from the original movie, played by Winona Ryder. Moving along. She becomes trapped in the afterlife after her new beau, that word bothers me so much, I hate that I just said it, reveals himself to be a dead charlatan who once trafficked in parricide. He tricks her into swapping her soul for his, dooming her to Soul Train to the great beyond, where you go when you're dead. She's navigated towards the ghost train through a crowd of dancers doing the bump and the Roger Rabbit as a conductor who looks suspiciously like the late Don Cornelius, the original host of Soul Train. Crows all aboard. It was really weird. The music was too loud and the segment went on for way too long. I'll just say that much before we even get into it. All right.
See, all that is legitimate
spoilers,
criticism of the way the film was made.
It's
the stuff that she's criticizing is just bullshit. Garbage. Woke stuff. That's what they're, and not woke stuff in the movie, but their view of it is through the woke lens.
We're
it's
getting
fucking
there.
Stupid.
Debuting in 1970 on a local Chicago television network, Soul Train highlighted the joy of Black Americans through dance style and culture, as Brooklyn White Greer wrote in a 2023 CNN Explainer, quote, "In the middle of the Black Power era and feeding from the civil rights movement, Soul Train provided a fresh opportunity for Black people to see and celebrate themselves. It was the most prominent stage displaying the mingling of socioculture and political progress and an imagining of life unencumbered by white supremacy." Oh, I probably just got shadow banned by saying that word. The show also sparked the career success of a number of Black artists, such as Rosie Perez of Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing, Vivica Fox, who lent her talents to Tarantino's Kill Bill as Vernita Green. Let's see. I'm trying to figure out how much I can skip here because it's a lot of fluff.
Most of the article, honestly.
Yeah, Jay.
They really start hitting it down at the bottom.
They're basically saying
fucking stupidity is when
they're basically saying that Tim Burton only cast pasty pale white people because his aesthetic is the like kind of Victorian era gothic white pale Edward Scissorhands, all that kind of stuff. In 2016, actor Samuel L. Jackson became the first Black person to play a lead in a Burton film. It's a weird thing to keep track of, but okay. When he was cast as the shape-shifting Mr. Barron in Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, keep in mind that Burton has been actively directing since the 1970s. I've never seen that one either, but the fact...
He did cartoons. He did his own animation, snap animation stuff.
I know. The fact that they tried to throw that in there, he's been directing since the 1970s. Pee-wee's Big Adventure was his first movie. Let's be straight with it. That was in the 80s, and Pee-wee was his first movie. Let's all calm down. When Burton was asked by Bustle to elaborate on his predilection for pasty actors while promoting the film, which was adapted from Ransom Riggs' 2011 novel, the director offered a stunningly tone-deaf response. Are you guys ready for this? I think his response was very reasonable, but of course, it wasn't good enough. Saying, quote, "I remember back when I was a child watching the Brady Bunch, and they started to get all politically correct," Burton told then Bustle reporter Rachel Simon. Okay, let's have an Asian child here, a Black child here. I used to get more offended by that than just, I grew up watching the blaxploitation movies, right? And I said, that's great. I didn't go okay, there should be more white people in these movies. Jordan Peele, if you guys are familiar, has become a pretty well-known director of horror movies over the last couple of years.
But he won't hire white people.
He will not hire white people, and he said, and you know, I'm honestly not mad at it. I'm not mad at his statement because he's like, you know, the neighborhood I grew up in and the people that I hung out with and my family and my friends, whatever, like this is what I saw growing up. This is what was normal to me. So this is what I'm going to cast for. That is essentially what Tim Burton just said. But
yeah,
what Jordan Peele said is okay. What Tim Burton says, they're like, oh, this is problematic. And it's like, all right. So unsurprisingly, those comments were met with considerable backlash on social media. Are you guys ready for the bad grammar? Here we go. The bad grammar.
Here we
go. If you say Tim Burton 3 times, a goth white dude appears and mansplains to you how casting only white people isn't racist. Ooh boy, they're discussing diversity with Tim Burton, who's never even cast a white person with a tan. For Jackson's part, Samuel L. Jackson, he affirmed to Bustle that while he noticed the lack of diversity in Miss Peregrine's casting, it didn't sway him from joining the project, saying, quote, I had to go back in my head and go, how many black characters have been in Tim Burton movies, Jackson said, and I may have been the first, I don't know, or the most prominent in that particular way, but it happens the way it happens. I don't think it's any fault of his or his method of storytelling. It's just how it played out. Tim's a really great guy. So he's not mad at it. Like, he's kind of pointing out what other people are probably like, they're like egging him on and trying to get him to say a certain thing. But at the end of his statement, he's like, it's not any fault of his own. It's his way of storytelling, and he's a good guy.
Yeah.
This is not malicious.
If you're white.
Right. Let's see. This is where we start really getting into the meat of it. Even when Burton did cast black leads in his popular Netflix series Wednesday, which saw him partner with the nation's scream queen Ortega as the Addams family's brooding, braided scion, he fumbled the proverbial bag. Fans slammed the casting of black actors Joy Sunday and Iman Marson as racist, taking issue with how they were cast as the mean girl and the bully at Wednesday's boarding school. Never more activity in their respective roles. When the New York Post reached out to Burton's team regarding the blowback, the representative for the director said, quote, I'm not forwarding a comment request this silly to Tim. Cheers.
Good for him.
Good. It's stupid. It's all stupid.
In Beetlejuice, the ghost train in the Soul Train scene has all the makings of a funky subway car fitted out with hot, albeit decaying dancers wearing disco attire. If not for the fact that there's no returning from the great beyond, it doesn't seem like a bad setup for the living in the land of the dead. Certainly bests the phantasmagoric. Is that even a word? I don't think that's a real word.
Yeah,
that's a
desert
word.
Full of sandworms. Despite the scene's rhythmic appeal, its singularity is deafening. It stands in stark contrast to the fact that there are quite literally zero other black people in the film, not in the land of the living dead or background for that matter. The fact renders the Soul Train a cheap caricature of diversity, only underscoring the sheer flaccidness of Burton's attempt at inclusivity. Saying one TikToker saying, Tim Burton was so tired of people saying that he don't. Okay, this is where I was like, get ready for your bad grammar. Tim Burton was so tired of people saying that he don't be putting black people in his movies that he said, here, take a freaking Soul Train joke. Still, it would be remiss to neglect to acknowledge the fact that the film's lead, Ortega, is a Hispanic actress, hailing from Mexican and Puerto Rican parentage. Isn't it actually more racist to like point that out and make an issue of it? Maybe it's just me. I don't know.
Bury it in the last paragraph of the story.
Yeah, right, really.
The actor has previously spoken about diversity and beauty standards in Hollywood and how she saw herself fitting in. As a child actor, there are 2 jobs you can get. Okay, we can skip this paragraph. Blah, 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 blah. While her sentiments and experience are undeniably real and valid, it's important to account for her conventional attractiveness and what some might argue to be her white passing Latina status. What does that even mean? So they're already pointing out like, racist. Oh, she's of like Mexican and Puerto Rican heritage, but now they're saying that she's white passing
enough,
Latina. I I don't even understand. I don't know.
She obviously shouldn't be working as a Latina since she's too white looking. She should just be
Right.
working as a white actress.
Right.
I mean,
Tack
God,
on the
what
way,
is she thinking?
Beetlejuice. And this is really cringy too. Any of you that haven't seen the movie and want to see it, spoiler, spoiler, spoiler. This is really stupid. Tack on the way, Beetlejuice speaks Spanish ad nauseum while offering theatric displays of wedding night love to Astrid's mom and medium extraordinaire Lydia Dietz, played by Winona Ryder, and the film's convoluted plot is thrown into even further disarray where diversity is concerned. So, again, spoiler alert to anyone in the chat that actually gives a crap about seeing this movie. They give a backstory about how when Beetlejuice was human, how he dies, and when whatever, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, he's in Spain, and he's like all of a sudden speaking Spanish. It was so cringy, it was so bad, it was so dumb, it didn't need to happen. It goes back to my point about like the Alien movies. Like if anyone saw Alien Covenant over-explained the origin of the xenomorphs, and it made it lame.
Mm-hmm.
They over-explained the origin of Beetlejuice, and they made it lame.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently,
you don't do
That's
that.
modern audience stuff. That's totally modern audience stuff.
Yeah.
They do that with every fucking movie now, and it doesn't make the movie better. In case
Yeah, I
you know,
remember-
isn't even anybody who's watching this who wants to do that. Don't leave the fucking
remember-
mystery.
I remember the George Zimmerman stuff. Yeah, they basically just said he was just a white guy. Period.
Yeah, so that's stupid, and I don't recommend seeing Beetlejuice. Originally, when I first saw the title of the movie, a portion of me was thinking, okay, you're supposed to say his name 3 times to make him appear. They're calling the sequel Beetlejuice. I'm like, are they setting it up for a trilogy? Are they going to do it? And as of right now, Tim Burton and all of his camp and everybody are absolutely insisting that, no, we're not going to make a 3rd movie. But
Good.
1, I don't know if I fully believe that. 2, now I fully believe it doesn't need to happen.
Does he have the rights to it? Could he stop it? I mean, they might just do it anyway. Remember the Matrix? Warner Brothers said we're making a Matrix movie, and if
I don't know if they could do it without him, because the script and the screenplay was an original story written by 2 people whose names are totally eluding me right now. And so when he directed the first one, it was a totally original story. I don't know what their contracts say in terms of like if they could make if they could just be like, we don't need you, Tim Burton, and they could make a third. I honestly don't know. I don't know how that stuff works. I'm not that savvy with like the
Robin.
the
You got a
stuff.
bail?
I know.
Robin's
Yeah, so
go.
we're below we're beyond our hour mark, which is good because then that means we don't need to get into some of the more messy stuff that happened over the weekend. We might talk about that on Wednesday. No, you're fine. Like I'm already looking. It's like it's after 6 my time. It is about dinner time for me as well. Finishing up a beer and definitely getting hungry. But yeah, so this is as good a time as any to wrap it up. Hopefully we get some rewatchability on the hour-long streams. And don't act like you're such an old lady. It's not that late for you. It's like what, 8 o'clock? Come on. But yeah, so as we usually do, you actually have to go out. Well, don't we all, except for Roman.
True.
Roman
I
is
did.
old
I used to
and
do that stuff.
Roman
I still
is
stayed up
old
till
and
10 or
falling
11 at night,
apart
so I
and
have a life.
super gluing his leg back together and all the good things. But Roman, what do you got going on this week, buddy?
Okay, so Thursday, 5 Pacific Standard, as always, every week. This week we are doing a free-range show, so it's going to be all the pop culture stuff packed into a tight 2-hour package of nightmarish hell. And then the following week, we're doing an anime review, Song of the Sea, which I've never seen before, so this would be a first time for that one. So, and Tuesday, I guess, next week, Jacob is doing Khan! Wrath of Khan. So I'm gonna
be on that.
Nobody cares about Star Trek. Nobody cares about Star Trek.
New Star Trek.
I hate you so much.
I know. I just like to give Roman a hard time. But Blair, are you popping in with anyone else the rest of this week?
So I'm going to be on the free range this week, and then next week I'm going to be on the con show
All right.
with Jacob
Yeah, I was
Ironside.
kind of thinking. I mean, maybe because it's just September, but hey,
Oh, sorry.
make me.
She'll be asleep soon. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's bedtime. I was kind of thinking. I mean, okay, maybe it's only mid-September. I was kind of thinking that Jacob was going to start getting into his like black and white old Universal monster movies. Because
I love those.
we've been talking for a long time. I definitely want to pop onto his channel one of these days, but it's like a combination of two things. Either the dates that he throws at me, I'm busy, or he brings something up and I'm just like, I would have to do massive amounts of homework to get caught up on the source material. But one of these days, Jacob, if you're still in the chat, one of these days we will link up. I definitely think Halloween time with the scary movies is probably the best time. With the old black and white, the Universal monsters, all that. There you go. He's still here. All right.
Favorite time of year.
So yeah, hopefully sooner than later, we can make something happen. I definitely want to join your channel one of these days. But yeah, I'm not a Star Trek guy. I'm not a Doctor Who guy. It's all things that Roman and I argue about quite a bit because one of us is right and Roman is wrong. And yeah, so I guess with that, like I said, we're past our hour mark, but thank you all so much for joining in. We had Lady Marine, Jacob Ironside, a few newcomers, I believe. Stephen Ransom, of course, always good to see you, brother. Thank you so much for popping in. Glad to see you're doing well.
Jake Goodwin.
Melvin Deeply, Jay Goodwin. Yes. Not missing anyone. Way early on, we had Anna. Devon briefly popped in the chat. I guess he didn't make it on camera, but we all love Devon.
And
He's our
Pam,
resident.
86.
Pink Pam 86, yes, jumped in. I think she might be gone now, but thank you for joining in. Good to see you as well. Yeah, so I think that's, for the most part, our chat for the night. Again, thank you all so much for joining me. I have my regular Wednesday solo stream, chill stream, whatever you want to call it, after work beers on Wednesday at 3 o'clock California time, excuse me, where I will just cover whatever random stories either fell through the cracks or other stuff that comes up between Monday and Wednesday, where I just rush home from work, crack open a beer, and we all just hang out in the chat. So until Wednesday, Devon's still here, sort of. Hoping to make it. Sorry, lads. It's all good, Devon. We'll catch you next Monday. I think. Wait, let me look at my calendar real quick. Yes, next Monday. Yes, the 30th. No, my parents will be in town on the 30th. Anyways, until Wednesday. Too soon. Ending live streams is hard.
Good night, everybody.
And until the after work beers on Wednesday. See you guys. Thanks for popping in, and we'll see you next time.
Be excellent to each other.
This has been Late to the Party News. Make sure to like and share this video for others to see. Subscribe to the channel and set notifications to all so you get notified every time we go live or post a new video. Thanks and good night.